Let's be honest, if you were Antony, you wouldn't want to leave Man United either, would you? It's all downhill from here for him. But I'm going to tell you why I would start Antony ahead of Marcus Rashford in this huge game this weekend against Liverpool. We have lots to talk about here on Forever United TV this morning. I'm Adam, welcome to the show everybody. United's finances have been released again. We reported record revenues coming in upwards of 650 million possibly. Ouch! What does that say for financial fair play and the rules that are changing like we discussed last night? Mason Mount's back in the team. United could have what resembles a normal defence this weekend against Liverpool. Is Ten Hag really being backed? I want to get into them stories as well. There's quite a lot floating around the papers and online this morning regarding Manchester United. Let's get into it, guys. Make sure you please do, first of all, give the video a like. Make sure you subscribe, and if you are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the show, everybody. And if you are playing catch-up, drop your comments in after the video is finished. It's live stream. Let's get into what is going on right now with United, guys. Delving straight in, I've just set up you guys a little poll there just to tease you in. Is there any chance still for Antony at Manchester United? It's a simple yes or no answer. You can get your comments in later. If you feel like Antony has got a place in this team, 35%. I'm telling you now, we're saying, yes, he does have a spot in this football team still. And he can still do a job. The reports coming out, they've come from The Athletic. The Athletic have been reporting on the ongoing investigation to the claims of assault that Antony is under, that we all know about. That investigation is still being looked into by the Great Manchester Police, corresponding with, obviously, the police over in Brazil as well. So all of that is still lingering around in the background. There is an effort from Manchester United that has been said in The Athletic that Ten Hag and the football club have given Antony a little bit of leeway in handling it and dealing with the situation which is at hand. And they have looked into his performances and pretty much said that there is a little bit of an excuse there for him in what I'm reading anyway. It's like, if you feel like it's going to affect the man and you cannot get the best out of him, then why is he in the squad? You had other players there that could have stayed, that went out on loan. You know where I'm going with that? It's sort of like that favourites little bit with Eric Ten Hag. Is this where he's going to trip up again? Like, he's thrown everything at Antony. And yeah, Antony's probably not said anything bad about him, like other players have, and had fallouts with Ten Hag. But still, you have to look at what's more important. And more important right now is the results. Is Antony bringing us what we need in that forward position? Now, obviously, at the top of the show, I said that I would tell you why Antony is in my team this weekend for the Liverpool game. It's simply because I know that Rasmus Højlund is probably going to be back fit. And for me, I'm going to put Antony in ahead of Marcus Rashford this weekend because I know we're going to need that extra cover at the back. And if there is one player that I can guarantee you is up for a fight and we need to fight this weekend, it's Antony. Antony starts ahead of Marcus Rashford in the game against Liverpool this weekend. You may think I'm absolutely nuts, but as long as Rasmus Højlund is back, that's what I would go with. A combative forward who doesn't offer a lot going forward, but maybe he will. You never know. But one thing he does guarantee you is work rate, tracking back and doing his defensive duties, and he will do that better than Marcus Rashford will. So I am playing Antony, Garnacho and Højlund. Antony starts ahead of Marcus Rashford for me against Liverpool this weekend. As the week goes on, we'll discuss that and we'll get into it. But because Antony is hot topic today, he has said he has got no intention of leaving Manchester United. Absolutely zero intention of leaving United. You wouldn't, would you? Only 2 years in after this season to your contract, on decent wages, playing at the highest level, being looked after like all players are at Manchester United. It's the perfect life. It is the perfect life being a player at United. Yeah, you get the criticism and everything that comes away and the pressures that are on, but let's be honest, they are leading a privileged life playing in that Man United shirt. And even the reward for mediocrity is all too clear. And these players, like, you wouldn't do it. Well, you wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't deliberately look away like, I'm not getting in this team. I'm looking at the players that are coming in. I'm looking at the favourites and everyone who's here at United in front of me. You'd think it was a foregone conclusion. You think the player would be thinking, I just want to play football, don't I? And I've got no chance of playing it here. But honestly, I look at it and go, well, he said that he wants to fight for his place. He knows the task in hand. He knows the challenge that's in front of him to get back in the team, and he's up for the fight. I remember them words last summer from Harry Maguire, and we know what this club is like. Again, we know that Ineos is going to change things, and maybe that won't be the case. But also, you got to look at it and also say, At the moment, Antony, how far up the list is he in terms of players that we really need to get rid of? Unbelievably, even though he has been absolutely useless, and I say that nicely because he has offered us, 1 goal and 1 assist against the League Two side this season. He's not offering much else apart from what I just said then in defending. Antony should be right up there on the list, shouldn't he, in terms of players we need to get rid of. But he is so far down the pecking order, he's just ridiculous. And it just shows you what's going on at the football club and the chaos that is with Manchester United right now. Mark Lambridge, welcome to the Members Club. Make sure you do give the video a like, guys, please. Let's get up to that 100 mark. Everybody get onto the likes and obviously hit that subscribe button if you are just tuning in as well. This is Forever United TV. I'm Adam. We're talking Antony first of all, and should he be up there? How high should Antony be up there on the priority list for getting rid of this summer? I don't think we're going to be able to get rid of him. I don't think there's anyone in the market for him. He's not showing enough unless he shows something from now until the end of the season, which I don't expect because I really don't see Ten Hag putting him in the team. How is he going to prove himself to anyone? How is he going to add any value to his price tag for anyone to be encouraged to come in and buy him in the summer when he's not going to get any game time from now until then? I just don't see it happening. I mean, he's seen in Ten Hag's eyes as, well, unstoppable. Remember the press conference, don't we? Unstoppable Antony. He has been very stoppable and has been stopped all season. But like I said, on that pecking order of priorities this summer, there's just so much ahead of him. And you would have thought, like a guy who is being investigated for the charges we know about, who is not scoring at all, who was bought for 75, 80 million, and that is not your priority this summer? Welcome to the circus, everybody, which is Manchester United. I mean, I'm bigging it up a little bit there into something crazy, but when you look at it and you go, well, Sancho, well, Greenwood, you've got the situation with Antony Martial, Rafael Varane, Casemiro, that are big issues apparently. I don't know why, but well, Varane, we're hearing he's definitely going now. So what happens there? Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka, we know about them wanting to be sold this summer as well. Evans is going to go. Heaton's going to go. Looking at Brandon Williams, he's out of contract also as well. The mass exodus is real this summer. It's real and it will happen because United are going to have to release players anyway. So even if you feel like United cannot get rid of players, it's inevitably going to happen anyway, because I think we've got, 5 that are out of contract completely, including Varane, Martial, Heaton, Brandon Williams, and Johnny Evans. 5 so-called first team players that will definitely be out of the door this summer. So you can expect that, plus everything else. Mason Greenwood, I don't think has got a cat and nails chance of coming back. Although Fabrizio Romano has come out and said that Barcelona, and we've seen Murto out in Barcelona and Madrid, of videos that came out and surfaced in social media yesterday. Romano has said that Barcelona are currently not negotiating a deal for Mason Greenwood. So there's another spanner in the works. Cold water well and truly poured on. There were reports that Barcelona were trying to involve youth academy players in this deal just to try and make weight the situation with Greenwood. Stay well clear of that for me. If you're selling Mason Greenwood, you're selling for full cash. Don't be doing any cut price or make weights. That's just pathetic in my eyes. And some will say, yeah, but you never know with these Barcelona graduates coming through. They might be the next best thing. We need to be looking at them anyway, besides Mason Greenwood. Don't be losing one of your assets right now because of that and taking a chance because they might not make it in our academy. Go out, get Greenwood done, then go out and do what normal football clubs or so-called big football clubs do and go out and scout these young academy players that you think can bring over to Manchester United, like we did with Garnacho. That's what you need to be doing, not cutting the price for Greenwood because you're getting a couple of them. There's no way in hell that we are going to know if these players are going to be any good when it comes to him coming over to England. So, no. Anyway, Fabrizio Romano has said that's a no-go. So, well, that puts cold water on that. I think that will come back into the reckoning by the end of the season. I think the talk about Greenwood leaving for Barca will resurface again. It always does, doesn't it? It's like Barcelona are probably just trying to play it down right now to try and bring the noise down. Because you know what happens when speculation starts, the noise goes up and the price goes up and everything goes a little bit crazy. So let's downplay it a little bit and just see it through the rest of the season. I think that's what's happening right now. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. But again, you're looking at Antony and the situation we're in, and we can't really afford. I think we can get rid of him this summer. I do. I think we can, but I just don't think it's right there at the forefront of Manchester United's thoughts. They've said, and rumours have come out, that we are looking at accepting offers. Well, no one's going to offer anything for Antony. You're going to have to try and do what you can to get rid of him, I feel. I don't think anyone is going to come in for him. But, I mean, you guys tell me. Do you feel like he's worth anything at all after what he's done this season and what's going on off the pitch? Is he of value to anybody else? I'd be very surprised, very, very surprised. Into the chat we go. Antony hasn't been good at all, but he has been dropped stated. Court case against him, and yet hasn't complained once. He got his head down and keeps trying. I can't fault that. Dobby says, Adam, please do a similar poll or for Rashford, or do an Antony versus Rashford. Nah, not yet. That's for later in the week, that, Dobby. I know what you're saying, but this is about Antony today. 2 years into a 5-year contract, he can't be sold. Whoever is in charge, he can be sold, Graham. If someone comes in and has a screw loose and offers the right amount of money, of course he can. He can be sold. If you get half the price of what you paid for Antony now, the club sells. It's as simple as that. Because you're 2 years in, you're entering the third year, which is halfway, and they will see that as balancing the books, job done. Antony did contribute to a winning Champions League qualifying side and cup winning side last season. He did. What was it, 10 goals he got last season, I think, something like that. So it wasn't all bad. I think we just have to sell highlight reels of last season of Antony and his good bits, because he haven't had any this season. I'd still play him ahead of Rashford against Liverpool, though. I'm just saying. Antony as wing-back could work, but he doesn't get ahead of Dalot or Aaron Wan-Bissaka for me. No. I just feel like we're going to need to double up at weekend. We know the danger that Liverpool carry. I personally would. If he wants to play him on the right-hand side, then is he helping out? He's helping Wan-Bissaka out if Wan-Bissaka is fit. Hopefully Aaron Wan-Bissaka is fit. Because if you've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Antony doubling up on one side, defensively, I don't feel too bad with that. And when you're looking at who is on that side there, you're looking at Diaz this weekend for Liverpool. He was absolutely mustard at weekend against City, apart from his finishing, obviously. But the man's work rate is just unparalleled. It's ridiculous. And that's going to come to Old Trafford this weekend. So we need to be in position to counter that. We need to be ready for that against Liverpool. We have to just swallow the pride and accept where we are right now, and it is going to be a defensive display for United. We can go at Liverpool, I think, a little bit more than what we can City. I think Liverpool plays into our hands a bit more because they are more cutthroat, straight at you, full energy, and they do leave gaps at the back. We've seen that. They play risk-reward football. Maybe United can take advantage of that. We nearly did it against them at Anfield. We almost got there with that Højlund chance, but yeah, I'd have Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Antony on that right-hand side. I think we could handle Diaz with that, and obviously the overlap as well. So, yeah, I think that's why I would pick him. Matt says, Antony, sorry, I've just read that one. But yesterday you said Ineos will sell all these players, crap players. Well, they have to sell them. I did say in the same video, though, Madison, that we cannot get it all done in one summer, and we're going to need patience. We've just talked about 5 players that are out of contract, and they'll all be gone. We're then talking about moving on Sancho and Greenwood, Palestre and Ahmad. Antony's probably going to have to stay just to keep the numbers going right now. Because I don't think we can buy enough players to replace all of them, if you get what I mean by that. Apparently Ahmad has deactivated his socials for Ramadan. I don't know what that means or if that's true. If most people are doing that, I don't know. I just feel like Ahmad's miffed off anyway. Even if he hasn't done his socials, he's not getting in this team, is he? And we're talking about Antony, and Antony is actually ahead of Ahmad in the reckoning. And when you look at Antony's output this season, where would your head be if you was Ahmad right now? You know he's not getting in this Man United side, don't you? You know that that's pretty much an impossibility. With Ten Hag in charge, definitely. Hag will play the same lot as he has been the last 3 games. He has no tactical sense, says Adam. Confident for the Liverpool game then. Adam, you've had too much Lucasade. I don't know why, Graham, what you're talking about. You're the one who just deleted the message, so you must be worried about what you said. Lucasade, no. I don't like Lucasade that much anyway. Guys, Antony is not a fullback. Tracking back is a lot different from defending from the back. He's not. He's just not that. No, he's good at defending, but as a wide player without as much responsibility. Gray is right on that one. I do agree. I would never play him as a wing back. I would never play him as a defender. I would always have him in my team if I thought I needed someone to work hard for me and track back. At the end of the day, United are not producing anything at all up front, and that's why he's getting the criticism. He is, isn't he? We can praise his work rate and what he does at the back all we want, but you've got to put the ball in the net or you've got to get some assists or create something, and he does none of that. So that's the problem with him. Adam, playing United will be no stroll in the park, mate. It will be a game. Oh, I know it'll be a game, Colin. I do. I expect it to be a hot atmosphere, 9,000 Liverpool fans. And I think United will have to put up a fight. They're going to have to show up in this game. Otherwise, I think it's D-Day for Ten Hag. Like, you cannot roll over in this game and have 9,000 Liverpool fans singing and chanting and taking the absolute mick out of Man United on their own turf. That will be too much to take. The fan base will just turn into the most toxic atmosphere ever at Old Trafford if that happens. Ten Hag cannot afford that. The minimum that United need is to match that work rate of Liverpool and give it a game and fight. If we lose, we lose. It's a better team right now, Liverpool. But if we get a performance that we have been seeing on occasions this season, it looks like we just haven't got the desire or effort to actually put up a fight, then they are going to get absolutely lambasted. They're going to get slaughtered. They really will get slaughtered by the fans and the media. Matt Thrower says, Ahmad is getting the same treatment as Palestra. Neither are profile of winger that Erik Ten Hag obviously likes. Seems to prefer wingers that cut in and shoot. I know, and that gets him where? I know what you're saying, no, Matt. It is dead right. It's like he didn't buy any of them players. They were both brought in under Ole, and he has made it very, very clear that neither are good enough for him or what he wants to do, whatever that is. I do not know still, because I've still not seen that plan come out. Come on, lads and lassies, smash a like for Adam, says Verbal Kent. Yes, please. Let's get up to 100, please, everybody. We're nearly there. Everyone in the chat right now, hit that like button. If United offload Antony for free this summer, I'll buy you and Kaz dinner at 11 Central. Who the hell said let Antony go for free? Graham, what are you smoking, my friend? Was it a late shift last night? Come on, listen, mate. I said if someone comes in and offers half the price of what we paid for him. Oh, Graham, come on, mate. Someone give Graham a cuddle in the chat, please. I think he's suffering with something today. I don't think he heard what I said. But yeah, he needs a cuddle anyway, I think. Newbies QB says, my only concern is if some of the toxic players stay beyond the summer, they will infect the new arrival with their mentality. We either need to sell or loan them out. So look, that is the patient side of things. They're not all going to go this summer. Not a chance that they're all going to go this summer. That's the problem we've got. The other problem we've got in that is being able to actually handle them players still being here and back the manager, the patience factor. That's where that patience works into this for me. You have to be able to withstand the onslaught, the cry for this manager not working again. There's so many players that need to be outed out of this team, but it's not all going to happen in one summer, and why I don't think Antony will go this summer. I don't. I think there's too much to do, but we are going to have some of this deadwood, this toxicity, these players that have lingered around, that haven't been good enough, but we all know about. There's still going to be some going into next season. It's inevitable. There's nothing we can do about it, and we have to accept it. Now it's up to Ineos and their new structure to back that manager that comes in, or if it is Ten Hag again, back him, and don't buckle under the pressure of these players, because the summer after we probably will be able to move them players on, and that is the process. Really, it's the process is a 1 to 2 year, I feel, of outing players, and by the third year, I would say that Manchester United's plan, or Sir Jim Radcliffe's plan, that's when most of the players that aren't good enough will be out, and the new ones will be in, and that's when we're going to know how good our recruitment is, how good Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, everyone else involved behind the manager is. That's the time. And everyone, including myself, will be there asking questions about where the 3-year plan has taken them. Like, why are we not competing at the top? I'll be asking that question myself, because Sir Jim has said that's how long it's going to take. How close will we be? Will we even be asking that question because we're accepting of what we're actually watching on the pitch? I.e., we're seeing a different brand of football, we are challenging, and we're comfortably in the top 4. If we're comfortably in the top 4 in 3 years and we're looking at closing that gap to maybe single figures to the top 2 or the top team, just in and amongst it, I think you got to look at that and go, right, that's improvement. But he's told us that we are going to be competing and challenging for trophies. It's going to take that long. I don't think it's long enough. I don't. I think he's, again, I keep saying it, I think he's set himself up for a bit of a hard question time there for me. Let me just see what else we've got now. If you was Manchester United manager, would you keep Antony or sell him? I would definitely sell him. Definitely sell him. And let me just see what else we've got in here right now. Adam, how many players do you realistically think we can bring in this summer? I predict we will bring in 4. I reckon 5. That's what I think, Matt. I reckon 5. It's a case of, for me, what profile of player they go for. I feel like if we go for that bracket of 30 to 40, maybe 50 million, 5 players, but anything above that, it changes the whole scope. Like we said last night in the show, we're looking at what? We're looking at more financial freedom with the new PSR rules that are coming in. They are going to be very key, especially if you're looking at the revenues that have just been released, which I want to get into next, because their quarterly figures up to December 2023 have been released for Manchester United. It's a case of us earning a lot of money, but still owing a lot of money. That's what you need to take from it. We could be having record revenues, predicted revenues of 650 million. United still owe 750 million. We know the debts we've got. We know what position we're in. But what it does give us is the big revenue, bigger chance to spend money, try and balance the books somehow. A structure and a restructure of a football club financially isn't going to get cleared overnight. Everyone needs to just accept that we are going to always be in debt. Every club, near enough every club, I'd say 90% are in debt. It's just the way it is. Football clubs really don't make much profit. They don't. Until real caps start coming in on player wages and stuff like that, and agent fees, then it's always going to be the case. You have to balance your books. Everyone lives with debts. Everyone's got a mortgage. You never buy anything outright that's substantial. It's paid over a certain amount of time, and you just balance the books with that. They've all been highlighted to just destroy the Glazers and come in. But realistically, the Glazers, we know they're bad, but when it comes to actually owing money on transfers, it's the same as every other club. I'm not going to let anyone tell me that that's just solely down on the Glazers. That's the way that Man United is run, like every other football club is run. We know what the Glazers are. The Glazers zero investment out of their own pocket and let United just deteriorate. That's what it is. And I just feel like everyone has just overhyped that amount of debt. Yes, the interest payments are the Glazers and all of that side of things. That is all on them, and I don't know how we get rid of that. I have got no answer for that. Even when United turn around everything with Ineos, if they do actually get to that moment, if we do get to a place where we can actually turn a small profit because we run like a proper club, we're still not going to be able to clear the Glazers' debt. It's always going to be there, and harsh reality checks are needed. That's the problem with the fan base. No one wants to forgive and forget. Right now, we're still angry because we're not seeing enough good football. We're not getting value for money. And the ultimate is to lash out at the obvious. The easiest thing is to lash out at the obvious. And that is the Glazers. And it is right to do that. They have really screwed us over. But you have to look at what we can do now. And I think what we can do now is definitely get everything in order, try and just stabilise, and then run consistently from there for the next few seasons. That's what we need to do. And I think that's what Ineos can bring, definitely. But them financial figures, obviously, wages went up in them as well by 23%. You would have read that as well. That's because United qualified for the Champions League. I would say don't expect that to be the norm, because the record revenues and the percentage that it's gone up in December is simply because we were competing in the Champions League. Now, this time next year, we will not be competing in the Champions League. So them records and whatever it is won't be the same next year unless we start selling players. Unless we do start getting value for money out of some of the players we're getting rid of. The outgoings may be less. That's true. But in terms of revenues, if you're not in the Champions League, don't expect them same numbers to be coming about next year. So, yeah, as good as it is and how it looks, fantastic. 650 million, near enough in revenues. That's great. Especially if with the new PSR rules, you can spend 85% of that on transfers, wages and agents' fees. That's all great for Manchester United. It does give us a real advantage going into the transfer window. But you got to look at it also and say, it's unrealistic, it's not sustainable because we're not in the Champions League consistently. If we were in a place where Sir Jim says he's going to get us, which is always fighting at the top and always fighting for the Champions League and the best trophies, then we can look at them figures and go, that is going to be every single year. And you could probably balance your books a lot better and predict what you're going to bring in. But Omar Barada, Sir Jim Radcliffe, Dan Ashworth, they're going to have a hell of a job battling through these first few years. And again, why I just feel like he's sort of undercut himself on the 3-year plan. Yes, I can see that breaking news, Michael. I did allude to it at the start of the show regarding Mason Mount. I just want to get into some of your comments regarding all the finances. I don't know if anyone is really concerned with it. I think most people are just looking at this and saying, look, how much can we spend on players? Are we getting rid of any players? How much can we get for these players that we're selling? That's really all we should be concerned with. The rest will take care of itself because we have real football people in place right now. I think that's the positive that's the positive message I can send. It's like, we're not going to be in a situation where we have got Klingons hanging on forever and a day. In about 3 years, I think we will be fully structured, wage-wise, player contract-wise. I think we'll be in a position where it's completely stable on that side of things. The quality of player that's at the football club at that point, I couldn't tell you. We just don't know. There's many transfer windows between then and now, so we'll see on that then. Fred says, afternoon all. What is the budget for replacements, or is it guesswork? Complete guesswork, Fred. No one's giving anything away, and I don't want the club to do, because that means that everyone will know exactly how much money we've got and try and negotiate hardball again with us. And we know what we're like with that. Even with Sir Jim Radcliffe in place and his message to United saying that we have to be tougher in negotiating deals, you're still going to get other clubs saying, we know what you've got. Let's not kid ourselves. We want this much for this player. Can United, in the position we're in right now, with the amount of players we are losing, afford to play hardball continuously? It's no surprise that United are looking at players that are in the last years of their contracts and have certain release clauses. They're having to find the right package, you would say. Package it up. What's his wages right now? What's his age? Where's he playing? What level's he at? Where's his contract at? Has he got a release clause? All of that rolled into one. That's the work that Ashworth, that all of the recruitment team, everyone is going to be doing at United from now on. It's just going to be that way. I'm not saying it's bargain basement. We can still afford players. We can afford to spend a lot. I just don't want us to spend a lot. I'd rather us not. I'd rather United actually be clever and actually run properly and recruit the right way and bring in the players that have got the potential, that you know have got the right mentality to handle what's coming, which is playing for United. Prashant says we might end up paying 20 mil plus to get Ashworth over the line and release Ten Hag. Does this contribute to the PSR? I'm not 100% because they haven't announced the new rules yet. So officially right now, what they want to put out is what they can spend of their revenue is solely down to agents' fees, transfer fees and wages, not staff above the playing staff, that means, if that makes sense. Whether or not that gets changed, we have to wait because they are still making that deal at the moment. They're going to fast track it and give us more information will come, but as it is at the moment, no. As far as I'm reading, I could be wrong on that one. I'm not going to say that's definite, but it's mainly because it is with UEFA as well. Agents' fees, wages and transfer fees. That's the PSR balance. Boxing Straight Talk, 55 million for an injury-prone player. That's out of contract at the end of the season. It's disgraceful, that isn't it? That's our money. They're spending like that, says Boxing Straight Talk. This was a prime example of what I was just saying then in terms of finding the right players. What's your age? Where you're playing? What's your level? Also, what's your bleeding injury record? Who are we buying? Why would you spend 50-odd million with a player that no one else was in for, that's in the last year of his contract? Why would you do that? There's only United can answer that question. Fred says, Adam, when and where do you expect the Glazers to raise their ugly heads? Never, because they don't need to now. The face of Manchester United now is Sir Jim Ratcliffe. The Glazers will be silent owners or partners and just never turn up. It will all be Ineos now. They have basically said, you go and earn us our share of money and we'll just sit back here in Florida working with the books and just dealing with NFL stuff and our stuff over here. That's all it will be. They won't. I don't think we'll ever see it. We may see a Glazer at a major event. We may see them at Wembley like we have done last season. That's if United get to Wembley. But I don't think at Old Trafford. I'd be very, very surprised. Antony said, Adam, it's going to take a minimum of 5 years plus to start challenging for the league titles and Champions League. There's been so much destruction of the club over many previous years. This is a long-term issue. Very long, mate. I agree. I already said 5 years. Myself, I agree with you on that one. Mark says, would you buy 5 players to go into the starting 11 or 10 players for lesser quality to strengthen the squad? Starting 11, mate. Starting 11 straight away. If we can find the players for the starting 11, then the others turn into squad players. We already know. They know the club. There are certain players that I think that are in this team right now we shouldn't sell, but we can still use them. You know about these players. I've talked about them all the time. I feel like McTominay is a prime example of that. I would keep him in the squad. I would. Because I know what he can do off the bench. And he knows Manchester United. He will accept that as well. He will be all right with that. And he's not a bad player to have as like a third choice central midfielder coming in or an attacking threat to bring on, is he? He's not. He's just not a starter for United. So, yeah, 5 first-team players, and that's how you start moving forward. The rest drop down into the squad. You don't need to buy squad players when you've already got them. You buy first-team players to move them into the squad. That's what I think. Best way I could describe it anyway. I hope new recruitments, to a higher degree, are offered contacts, a bit like when buying stocks can be a goof idea to buy some and buy options for some more. If price go down, you do not use your option. It's very complicated, Mike. Even me trying to read it then was complicated, but I don't know how they're going to work it or how they're going to structure it, but there has to be something better than what's on offer right now. To break that down, we don't even have to go into details like that, but the Mason Mount is prime example of poor recruitment. Poor, lazy recruitment is what that was. That's what we got in here. We have a new member in the house, Michelle Ellis. Welcome to the Members Club. Gifted by our man Fred. Thank you, Fred. Love that. Really appreciative. Again, Verbal Kint. Fred is a legend. Yes, he is. Thank you for backing him up. I'm hoping United do a Leicester and win it next season. I don't want to be described as a Leicester Gary, but yeah, I know what you mean. Surprise everyone and win it. I do believe them days are gone. Yes. Adam, I'm pretty sure Mount had other others after him, hence the priority in the window. Honestly, mate, if you're falling for that, then I'm worried. Yes, everyone would have just spoken to Chelsea, but what the difference is, everyone would have gone, Yeah, sorry, see you later. I'm not paying that price. There's only United stupid enough to go for Mason Mount at that price. That's what happened. Not that other offers were on the table. They're just, Chelsea went, we don't even need to listen to anyone else because United are in. We'll just get what we need from them. The fact that we went in with a first bid, which was our maximum bid, is just brain dead. It really is. Carol Army's going off in your background, mate. Most of the stream. Yeah, what can I do, Adam? Sorry, mate. If I had a magic button, I would turn it off. But thanks for being attentive. I've seen enough of Antony to know he doesn't take us to the next level. I agree on that, Domingo. Hope you well. I am a complicated man writing complicated texts. Thanks for that, Mike. I love that. Antony over Palace. I don't know what you mean by that one. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the story in the Times. That was my next bit regarding Ten Hag actually having backing at Manchester United. There are people behind the scenes at United that think highly of Eric Ten Hag. I'm sure they do. But that counts for absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing when results on the pitch are not going right. You might thank someone in your workplace who's helped you with a bit of work, or maybe went and got you a brew. It doesn't mean that the boss doesn't like their work ethic or what results they've given the business. They're still going to get rid of him, aren't they? Eric Ten Hag is in charge of handling one of the most expensive squads ever put together, and he has contributed to that because he has picked these players. That's why him and Murto should be the heads on the block for the situation United are in, pitch-wise and financially, because they picked the players, Ten Hag picked the players, and Murto paid for the bleeding players or negotiated for the players. We know that's how it worked, and they ballsed it up on both sides. Ten Hag got a couple of wins. He did. A few players have worked really well. I do believe that the money we spent on Højlund was worth it. They got that one right. I want to credit them for that because I'm not here just to slaughter them on everything and ignore the good that they have done. That was a good find, and with patience, we have found a bit of a gem there, I feel, in Højlund. I really do. And I hope he does turn out to be that player that he was looking like he's going to be before he got that injury. It's devastating that he got that injury. Really is annoying that he did. It was an upgrade on Eriksen, Adam. Well, no, it wasn't, because he's not played, Graham. So we still don't know. You cannot say that Mason Mount is better than Christian Eriksen, even off the season before, Graham, when he was at Chelsea, because Eriksen probably did more than Mount did for Chelsea. So that's an opinion. Mount maybe better than Eriksen at the stage of his career he is, but over the last two seasons, Eriksen or Mount, I'm sorry, I'm going for Christian all day, every day. Adam, would you buy any United player after their performances on the pitch? Would I buy any United player? There's plenty of players I would buy from United if I was another club. 100%. 100% of players there that I would spend money on from United. I think there is some very good players at United. The problem you've got is they're all on mega money and they're never going to leave the club. Well, if you were offering Man United's team out now for all reasonable prices and the clubs that were looking could all afford the wages, of course they would take United players in their team. They're excellent players. Doesn't necessarily mean that they've got what it takes upstairs to handle what's going on. The club are as much to blame as the players. Let's not forget that. The club are the creators of these players and their mentalities and their attitudes, I feel. Full on, protected, bubble wrapped, soft soaped, and turned into the monsters that they are. I don't mean that like they're horrible people. I just mean that they feel like they've already made it. Like, they turn up to training, expect to do the necessaries, the minimum requirements, and they're going to play. They turn up on the pitch, average performance, still knowing that they're going to be in the team the following week. It doesn't happen at any other top club. It really doesn't. Frank Davison says, I generally think we need to release a few players, pay out the contracts, and take the hit. Agreed. Which ones, though? Let me know which ones you think, Frank. It helps no one disgruntled, poor quality players hanging around the squad. there is balancing books, and it is a business, and I understand that you cannot just release players. I think if you add up the wages of the players that are being released this summer window, if you say like Varane alone and Martial, 600k a week. Tom Eaton, there's another 50 there, I think. Brandon Williams, 65. So you're over 700,000 in them alone. Who was the other one I said before? Johnny Evans, I think he's on about 60 grand a week as well. So you're close to £800,000 a week in wages off the books as a guarantee, unless we give another offer to Johnny Evans, which some people have said wouldn't be a bad idea. Kind of thinking that wouldn't be a bad thing, especially if we are going to sell Lindelof and lose Varane. Wouldn't be a bad thing in bringing in another centre-back and just having Johnny hanging around. Professional, and has been outstanding this season, and it doesn't cost a lot. So I am all on board with that, even though it's kind of desperate that we're holding on to a 37-year-old. I understand that look on it, but still. If the players, it's like we say, isn't it? If he's good enough, he's old enough. Same goes with the older players, I think. If he can keep up with the best that there is in the Premier League, which Johnny has done this season. Let's not forget, we were in a decent position against City with Evans and Varane in defence. We got a clean sheet at Anfield with Evans and Varane in defence. With them two as centre-backs, we went over a game and a half without conceding against the best two attacks in the league. You could argue Arsenal right now, but still, look at what we did. Away at Anfield, away at the Etihad. Evans came off and it all went to crap. We lost all our shape and everything. So, yeah, I would take Evans on another 1 year. As crazy as that sounds for a 37-year-old, you can't ignore what's been happening on the pitch, which have been outstanding performances. That's what it's been. So, I agree. I'd keep Evans. I would. But I do think we are going to release him. I think he will go. You never know. You never know. Ten Hag, I was talking about Ten Hag then, about people backing him. I think it's pretty much enough in store if the Times were writing it, and it was like he's held in high regard by a lot of people at the club. He's done a lot of good stuff at the club. He really has. But still, it's the results on the pitch that matter. And when they're not right, the management, the hierarchy are still going to look down on him and say, it's just not good enough. Doesn't matter what we say, whether we like him or not, whether he's dealt with a certain player that we wanted out of the club, or certain issues that weren't being dealt with by other managers before he's done it and dealt. It doesn't matter. All that matters is where United are in the league, what's happening on the pitch, what we're watching, what the results are. Past that, forget it. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. But guys, that pretty much does sum up today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. All new members, super chats, everyone with your comments. We've got through loads of comments today. Love them all. Really appreciate it. If I didn't read yours out, I'm sorry, because there was just that many. Make sure you put your comments in on the video once the live stream finishes in a minute. But guys, that is it. I will be back later at 6:30. Make sure you tuned in then. Keep your notifications on so you know what's coming up. And I will see you all then. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And yeah, more